Introduce a couple of new folks, at least one, Dr. Jeremy Rowley from Goochland Administrator. So thank you for attending this morning.
Thank you.
And also like to just take a quick moment and say thank you to Dr. Newbill for her service being the chair last year. So thank you. These are I appreciate the leadership. I'd also like to just take a quick moment of silence, if we could, for our friend and colleague, John Hodges, who passed away this past weekend, and we can get some service information out this week. We do have a resolution to read later in the meeting, but I'd like to take a quick moment of silence, just appreciate the work that he's done and say thank you. Thank you. John was a true leader for service and a dear friend of all of ours. So I'm going to be greatly missed. If you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Ms. Scott, would you please certify that we have a quorum?
Yes, sir. Town of Ashland, Ms. Barnhart. We have Ms. Barnhart on Zoom. Ms. Barnhart? Can you hear us, Ms. Barnhart? Uh-oh.
You're muted on that screen, so.
Yes, I am, I have to be muted, but Sid has us unmuted there. Ms. Barnhart, Mr. Koenig, can you hear us?
Yes, this is Dan Koenig. I can hear folks.
Thank you. Ms. Barnhart? Yes, I think, I will indicate that she is present and hopefully she'll be able to, we'll be able to hear her soon. Charles City County, Mr. Patterson.
Present.
Mr. Atkins. Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
I'm here.
Mr. Holland.
Here.
Ms. Schneider. Here. Dr. Miller. Goochland County, Mr. Lyle.
Here.
Mr. Valders. Hanover County, Mr. Davis.
Here.
Ms. Pritchard. Mr. Hudson. Enrico County, Mr. Cooper.
Present.
Chair Rogish.
Here.
Mr. Schmidt. New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Here.
Ms. Stewart. Powhatan County, Mr. Kinney. Ms. Morissette. Mr. McClung. Mr. Powers. City of Richmond, Mr. Breton.
Present.
Dr. Newbill. Here. Capital Region Airport Commission, Mr. Rutledge. GRTC, Ms. Torres. Here. Ms. Adams. RMTA, Ms. Dean. VDOT, Mr. Totten. Mr. Riblett.
Here.
Department of Aviation, Mr. Harrington.
Present.
Mr. Smiley.
Here.
DRPT, Ms. Dubinsky. Mr. Hudson.
Here.
FTA, Mr. Koenig.
Here.
Federal Highway Administration, Mr. Ofori. Mr. Rucker.
Present.
Ride Finders, Ms. Ruffin. Here. And Mr. O'Keefe. That concludes the roll call for attendance. We do have a quorum.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Scott. I do have a received remote participation request from two members, Ms. Anita Barnhart and Mr. Daniel Koenig, for personal matters, specifically as scheduling conflicts that prevents in-person attendance. I will now entertain a motion to confirm the decision to approve the members requested is in conformance with the RRTPO policy for meetings held for meetings held, and that the voice of the remote participating members can be heard by all persons at the primary meeting location. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any considerations to the amendments to the meeting agenda? The consent agenda that has been proposed, any amendments to the meeting agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we take the resolution for Mr. Hodges off consent and have it stand alone as itself.
Second.
There's been a motion to move and Mr. Moore, you'd like to add the other one as well? Lisa Guthrie. So a motion to remove 4B, the resolutions for Mr. Hodges and Ms. Guthrie outside of the consent agenda, and we'll move to section A5 after the consent agenda. So moved, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion carries. So we'll move 4B off the 5A. Okay, this is a public meeting. And are there any members of the public here that wish to speak? We will now close public comment, seeing none, and move to the consent agenda. We have three items now on the consent agenda: approval of meeting minutes, work status report on page 16, and the annual work summary on page 34. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda with the amendment to amending 4B
Second.
to 5A.
Been a motion for 4A, C, and D, properly seconded by Dr. Newbill. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Moving along. So we will now go to the two resolutions, and for those that have the packet, there was an updated resolution that I think Ms. Scott, you passed out for Mr. Hodges. Is there a motion on the resolutions, I'm sorry.
Move to approve.
Yes.
Moved by Mr. Davis, seconded by Mr. Moyer. All in favor? Anyone opposed? So with that, we are going to have Mr. Moyer read Ms. Guthrie's resolution.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to read this. Ms. Guthrie has been a longtime resident of New Kent and a valuable servant to New Kent and to the CTAC. And Richmond Regional Transportation Planning Organization's resolution. Whereas Lisa Guthrie has a long history of public service, including serving as a director of public campaigns for the United Way of Greater Richmond and Petersburg, and serving as executive director for the Virginia League of Conservation Voters. And whereas Lisa Guthrie has been staunch advocate for public transit and served for over 9 years as executive director for the Virginia Transit Association. And whereas Lisa Guthrie enjoyed a long and successful career as a consultant as the owner of L.M. Guthrie and Associates LLC. And whereas Lisa Guthrie has served the citizens of the Richmond region through multiple terms on the Richmond Regional Transportation Organization Community Transportation Advisory Committee, including serving as chair. And whereas Lisa Guthrie has demonstrated that through action, all of the best qualities of a civil servant through the course of her career, and has been much appreciated for her service. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Richmond Regional Transportation Planning Organization do hereby express their sincere appreciation to Lisa M. Guthrie for her dedicated service and leadership on the Community Transportation Advisory Committee. Be it further resolved that the Richmond Regional Transportation Planning Organization extends its best wishes that during her retirement, she shall have continued good health, prosperity, and enjoyment for life for many years to come. A motion by us, second by somebody. The members of the Richmond Regional Transportation Planning Organization Policy Board voted unanimously to adopt this resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. I appreciate that.
Thank her.
And thank you, Ms. Guthrie, for all of you have done over the years. So with that, Mr. Sean Davis will read the resolution for Mr. John Hodges.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Whereas the Richmond Regional Transportation Planning Organization, the town of Ashland, and the Richmond region lost a valued member and leader on August 1st, 2025, with the death of John H. Hodges. And whereas John H. Hodges served the citizens of Ashland, Virginia as a member of the Ashland Town Council since 2017 and as vice mayor since July 2018. And whereas John H. Hodges had a long history of community service, including membership in the Ashland Kiwanis, serving as former president of Hanover Habitat for Humanity, and serving as former treasurer of the Ashland Museum. And whereas John H. Hodges enjoyed a career in professional planning for 30 years with Hanover County, Virginia. And whereas John H. Hodges served the citizens of the Richmond region through service on the Central Virginia Transportation Authority since its inception in August 2020, and was honored by the CVTA earlier this year for his lifetime contributions to public service. And whereas John H. Hodges served many years with distinction on the Richmond Regional Transportation Planning Organization Policy Board, including multiple terms as chair. And whereas John H. Hodges demonstrated through his action all the best qualities of a civil servant throughout the course of his career, and was much appreciated for his steadfast spirit of integrity and care. And whereas John H. Hodges' dedication to the community was dearly loved, along with his kindness, energy, and graciousness, enriching those who were fortunate enough to know and work with him. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Richmond Regional Transportation Planning Organization do hereby recognize the significant contributions of John H. Hodges over the course of his distinguished career, and extend their deepest condolences to the Hodges family. Given under our hand here at the Richmond Regional Transportation Planning Organization. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. For those of us that interacted with John, even only for the past few years that I got to know him personally, his service, his dedication to this trade and profession was just outstanding. And I know I speak for a lot of you, but we're gonna miss him dearly. So thank you, Mr. Davis. With that, I will turn it over to you, Ms. Schickel.
Thank you. We've got a series of presentations from staff, starting first with Mr. Mata, who will give us an update on the final report from the Rural Transit Transportation Analysis Study.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Dan Mata. I'm a transportation planner here at Plan RVA. Thank you for your time. I'm here to discuss the rural transportation analysis and the final outcomes. Which is an effort underway from July of last year to May of this year. It was included as task 7330.1 fiscal year 2025 Unified Planning Work Program. And it responds directly to a request from the policy board to better understand public transportation needs and opportunities in our rural areas. So this particular project is in the early stages of the planning process, centered around identifying issues and solutions. So not yet prioritizing solutions or getting into those project details quite yet. To give an overview, this analysis itself followed a comprehensive planning process. The goals were to understand current rural transportation needs, evaluate potential for future ridership, and develop service alternatives that are flexible and actionable. The process produced an engagement report, existing conditions and operational analyses, and a final recommendations report. All were shaped through multiple rounds of input from the public, localities, and service providers. So through the process, we found that public transportation is either extremely limited or completely unavailable in many parts of our 5 county study areas, which is the entirety of the counties of Charles City, Goochland, Hanover, New Kent, and Powhatan. We found that older adults, people with low incomes, and those without cars face the highest barriers to mobility. And ultimately, people want transit options that are flexible, affordable, and easy to access. We also heard strong need for better connection to between rural areas and regional job centers, medical providers and shopping areas, which are often in urban or suburban centers. So to address these needs, we evaluated a range of service options, microtransit zones, which offer on-demand rides within designated areas, so like GRTC Link service. New express bus routes that connect rural residents to Richmond during peak commute hours. Demand response, expanded demand response services for people who need door-to-door services. And more simple community-based solutions like volunteer driver coordination to fill service gaps, especially for older adults and people with disabilities who might need a little extra help. So these services, all these services were tailored to each county's conditions and potential, including proposed express routes that you see illustrated on the slide before you. A little difficult to see, but clockwise from left, there's the Powhatan Express in yellow, Goochland Express in blue, Hanover Express in brown, Charles City Express in green, Chickahominy Express in pink, and New Kent Express in purple. And again, these are all these are not existing services. These are alternatives that are presented in the report. Seems to be a different presentation. I'll just keep going. This must have gotten mixed up with something else. But this informs future work. If we recall back to the first slide, this project is in the very early stages of the planning process. So the rural transportation analysis really sets the stage for future action. The findings will inform Plan RVA's work as we pursue funding to implement the most promising services, coordinate with partners like PRTC, Bay Transit, and local governments, and fold rural needs into larger regional plans like the Long Range Transportation Plan and the Regional Public Transportation Plan. And importantly, this work helped deepen relationships with local communities and stakeholders, which is a thread that we are using more to strongly connect our projects. Also happy to share that this project has already received national recognition. Plan RVA was honored with a 2025 Excellence in Regional Transportation Award from the National Association of Development Organizations, or NATO. Holly Gordon, who was our senior community engagement manager, had the opportunity to present the work at the National Regional Transportation Conference last month in Iowa. Thank you. And I hear it was a popular session and people were coming up to Holly saying that they already heard about Plan RVA and our work. So that's very encouraging to hear because this award and exposure shows that the Richmond region is leading by example when it comes to rural transportation planning. And we are grateful to the many community members, local officials, many people here, and service providers who've shaped this work. And this analysis provides a practical roadmap for improving rural mobility in the region. And we look forward to continuing this conversation as we move forward.
Thank you. Are there any questions at this point?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
First of all, I'm Jonathan Law from Goochland County. Thank you for the information. What are next steps? What is it that we at Goochland could be doing? And I want to give a shout out to Ms. Torres. She came to Goochland and really partnered with us on some of the micro transit initiatives that could be out there. But we are indeed one of these. We need to get people to their medical appointments. We need to get them out of the food deserts to the grocery stores. Is there a schedule? Is there a time frame? I mean, this is a great start, but how do we get something done?
Yeah, well, like you said, it is just a start. So identifying solutions that probably many of you were kind of already aware existed, so. But the next step is if this is accepted today, the Plan RPA will begin working more closely with our local partners and transit providers, even transit providers outside of our region, who operate in our region like Bay Transit. To explore just more funding opportunities and refine this a little bit more to fit each of our communities in the region. And then, like I mentioned, they'll be carried into the LRTP update, which is ongoing right now, and then future rural projects and public transportation plans. So again, to say it's very early in the process, and the next steps are pretty much just working more closely with you.
Okay, I mean, again, please, as a member of this body, please let me know. I mean, because the need is real, the need is now, and I understand good things do take time, but I have a bias for action. And if there's something that we can do in the short term, again, Ms. Torres has been such a catalyst for us looking at something that could happen in the very short term, at least in government talk, very short term.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, but please, I'll give you my card.
And I just wanted to mention, I'm excited to mention that we have a new transit planner. He's been with us for a while, but they're focusing more on transit now. So Will Heller is taking up transit planning for Plan RVA now. So I think it's a great fit. So
I have one quick question. On one of the slides, you talked about a coordinated volunteer service. Can you just talk quickly about how that might work?
yeah, so that was just kind of discussed kind of briefly in the process. It's essentially, right now we have like a lot of different small volunteer organizations, like a lot with churches or community organizations or associations. So just looking at a possibility of kind of bringing them under one umbrella, not really like within the same organization, but having some kind of shared coordination, if it's like a call center or that's an organization that handles that service. So just kind of making them all work together a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Thank you. I mean, that's a lot of people are volunteering to drive and connecting them with the people that have the need to be transported. Anything we can do to bridge that, I think that's a great idea. Yes, Schneider.
I think Helping Hands is one of those also, possibly. I know that we use.
Yeah, there's quite a few in the region, and that's kind of the point of just like
Centralized.
using these existing assets that exist in our community and using them to their full potential.
Excellent. With that, I again need a motion to accept are there any other questions at this point? Need a motion to accept the rural transportation analysis as completed and approved as inclusion in the other transportation planning analysis.
So moved.
Second? Seconded by Mr. Patterson, moved by Ms. Schneider. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Mono.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got Mr. Riggin, who's gonna give an update on our bike ped planning.
Morning, everyone. Thank
Good
you
morning.
for having me here. I'm Phil Riggin. I'm a transportation planner with Plan RVA. I'm mostly focused on active transportation. I wanted to go over the bike ped RVA 2045 plan update. And this is part of our commitment to continue to update that plan as we reflect regional planning with all of our localities.
CPA guys.
Yeah, there it goes. Oops. All right. Yeah, so in the regional planning process, the first thing here, identify issues and solutions. That's what this plan is, the effort with this plan is. There it goes. So in May 22, this policy board adopted the bike ped plan update. We had taken a long break from the previous update, but our commitment, as we say, is to continue updating this frequently. It's been about 3 years. But it was prepared in coordination with the long-range transportation plan. It's a reflection of all the comprehensive plans throughout the region. And that's a big part of, this data gathering and continuing to reflect the progress throughout the region. And again, we're trying to uphold that commitment to maintain the plan to reflect the planning in the region. So the Technical Advisory Committee recommended this for approval back in May, but the update that we're providing is a list of the proposed projects, the planned infrastructure throughout the region. This map obviously is very small, hard to read. There are links to the maps available in the agenda. We already had the spines for this network as identified in the previous planning. That's the Capitol Trail off to the east and Fall Line, which is under progress, under development right now between Ashland and Petersburg. That's the spine network. So we had to define the spurs, all the connections off of that spine network. And then again, we selected regional spines and spurs as a part of this planning effort as well. And like I said, we presented this through TAC in a working work process with the Technical Advisory Committee. So what we're hoping you will approve today is the plan update, the spurs definition, and the update to the maps. The resolution is on page 95 in the agenda. And like I said, we have the actual plan itself. Proposed document updates are on page 90. Are there any questions?
The 3-notch trail I see traverses all 35 miles from the Henrico border to Fluvanna. How conceptual is that? And is there any kind of timetable? That
Very good question at a very good time.
It's the kind I like to ask.
Our work program starting in July includes a 3-notch trail study effort. And I'm working right now with a lot of the localities to try to get a stakeholder group together and identify probably a few routes. But yes, Goochland, a focal point of this effort, and we've been working with staff in Goochland as well to begin that process of identifying potential corridors. Our mapping does show, because the comprehensive plans identify along Route 6. It may not be along Route 6 the entire way. There are other opportunities, maybe US 250, depending. But yes, that's underway. 3-notch trail study, and we will end it at Fluvanna. I've been working with some people in Charlottesville and Fluvanna, and our effort would be to connect Richmond to Charlottesville. And they're already working on how do we go to Waynesboro and Stanton. So connecting Capitol Trail and down the peninsula as well. Just
You have a unique opportunity with our county administrator here. Are there specifics that we could be doing to make this?
I'm gonna bring mine next.
happen?
That's a good question. I'm not prepared to answer that one.
Got to pass, Dr. Rayler.
Possibly building a bridge across Tuckahoe Creek, maybe that would help.
Well, you and I are working on it, bro.
Any other questions for Mr. Reagan?
Just to add to that,
Yes.
the extension to like Charlottesville, the Trail 757
Yes.
will be going from basically Billsburg Brewery, which is the end of the Virginia Capitol Trail. It will go two different routes. One will be over the ferry down through Surrey County and that way to the beach. The other will be up through Williamsburg and then eventually down to Virginia Beach.
Excellent.
So you could go eventually from Fredericksburg to Virginia Beach by bike.
Excellent.
Not me.
Well, just I encourage keep up the great work. Actually, and for those, I'm an avid bike rider. Tomorrow, I'm riding with some of the staff from Henrico County, just in my own district. We're going on a 7-mile bike ride to see how we can maybe make some additional trails connections just within our district. So I'm extremely excited with that. So with that, may I get a motion to approve the revised definition of the regional spurs and updated project mapping incorporated in the draft document as presented?
Move.
Moved by Mr. Carroll, seconded by Dr. Newbill. All in favor? Opposed? And motion carries. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Reagan.
Thank you. So Mr. Ariel is gonna, just bring this modal planning work that you've been hearing about, how to take a bigger picture and give an update on the pathways to the future long-range transportation plan.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Sulabh Ariel, transportation planner and project manager for the Long Range Transportation Plan. The Long Range Transportation Plan is one of the three core products of any MPO, the others being the work program, which is the UPWP, as well as the financial programming, which is the TIP. So the Long Range Transportation Plan, the current Long Range Transportation Plan, Connect RV 2045, is set to expire in September of 2026. So we are updating the new plan, which is branded as Pathways to the Future Transportation 2050.
Point it more that way.
Yeah, got it. So the Long Range Transportation Plan is a comprehensive process, around 2 to 5 years time to complete it. As you can see in the screen, it is an 8-phase process, and it's a cyclic process in conjunction with the federal requirement, which requires the transportation planning process to be comprehensive, cooperative, and continuous, the 3C process. So the first phase is to develop the data, which we call as the socioeconomic data for the future. And that took almost 1.5 years. That's already been adopted by this board. Then for the first time, we did a scenario planning process, which is basically looking at multiple futures rather than looking at one future. So that is phase 2, which was also approved by this board last September. So the next phase, the phase 3, is what matters most for the future, which is basically defining the vision, goals, and guiding principle, which is what I'm going to ask for your approval today. The phase 4 is basically looking at the existing conditions of transportation network, the multimodal transportation needs, which staff is working on. Once that's done, these needs are converted into tangible transportation projects. And we call those transportation projects as the universe of projects. So we'll have inventory of all projects which would be required to be completed by 2050. So that's phase 5. And then phase 6, we basically look at what is the funding available to complete these projects in the next 25 years. So the projects are prioritized. So that's project prioritization process, which is phase 6. And then phase 7 is basically we evaluate the plan, how did we do? And then phase 8 is adoption. So the vision and the guiding principles, we basically reaffirmed what was developed in the previous Long Range Transportation Plan, Connect RV 2045. So we took the foundational elements of what was already there in that plan and reaffirmed it, but we tweaked it based on the recent priorities of the new federal administration. So some of the words were tweaked, but basically in essence, it's the same transportation vision which we had in the previous Long Range Transportation Plan with some tweak. So I'll read the vision now. The transportation system in the Richmond region will reliably and safely connect people, provide opportunities for all to thrive and live healthy lives, promote a strong economy, and respect conservation of natural resources. So some of the words were tweaked, like instead of using environmental stewardship, we are using conservation of natural resources because that's what the federal government has guided us to use. So those were the tweaks which we made, but basically in essence, the same. Then we have the 7 guiding principles, which we basically look at safety, more choices, not just highways, but all the different modes. We talk about a robust active transportation system, a robust transit system, and then obviously fairness in transportation spending. We also look at the freight because transportation planning is not just providing people from point A to point B, it's also about freight, moving from point A to point B. And then finally, we talk about the land use integration. So the goals, objectives, and strategies we didn't keep the same one. These were developed to address today's changing priorities as well as challenges, and obviously to address the new federal requirements as well. So before starting with anything, it's good to have a definition of what we want to discuss. So we had a working definition of what goals mean, what the objectives mean, and what strategies mean. So goals is basically what you want. The goals will describe a series of desired states for the region's transportation system, informed by the vision, and provide the foundation for objectives and performance measures. The objectives is basically how do we measure success? The objectives will describe specific measures, statements that support the achievement of the goals. And we try to use what we call as a SMART objectives, which is specific, measurable, agreed upon, realistic, and time bound. In some cases, we had aspirational objectives in terms of safety, because we want vision zero. But other than that, most objectives are very realistic. And then strategies is basically high level approaches or policy statements used to achieve those goals and objectives. So this is the process of developing the strategies, goals and strategies, as well as objectives. So basically, it was introduced to the LRTP Advisory Committee. So the LRTP Advisory Committee is the body which guides the outcome of this process. And it is made of your local representatives, the representatives from state, regional, and federal partners, as well as some of the transportation advocates who are active in the region. So that makes the LRTP Advisory Committee. So it was introduced to the LRTP Advisory Committee. We had a round of discussions, including small group discussions, and then they came up with comments. And then finally, staff synthesized that and then provided the final outcome to them. And then they again provided the comment to us, which went to the formal public comment period for 15 days. Looking at the public comments, staff again worked on it, and today we are asking the policy board for their approval. Okay. So in developing the goals, the long-range transportation planning is very prescriptive. It is guided by federal regulation. So we have to look at different federal regulations which is needed to develop the goals. So the federal planning factors, the 10 factors which was established in FAST Act, which is the legislation before the Bipartisan Act, those planning factors were carried over. So we have to look at all these planning factors to come up with the goals. Also, MAP 21, which was the federal legislation before FAST Act, we have to look at the national performance goals. So we have 7 goals. So I won't go into all these, but we have to look at these as well. Yeah, and I didn't mention the state's guided directive as well. So we also look at the state's long-range transportation plan, which is VTrans, and also look at that. So looking into all these different factors, staff came up with 4 goals: safety, sustainability, reliability, and resiliency. So we want a transportation system which is safe, sustainable, reliable, and resilient. So that was the keywords. So I won't go into all these different goals, but it's in the agenda packet. But I'll read one of the goals. So first goal is safety. So the goal statement is a transportation system where no one is killed or seriously injured, and people feel secure and comfortable regardless of how they travel. So similarly, we have all those different goals. This is a 1-page boiled down version of the goals, objectives, and strategies, which went to the public comment period. The full slate of
Got there, there we go. Okay, I think it's back up now. Go ahead, Mr. Hurst.
Yep. Okay, sorry. So we are basically asking for your approval of goals, objectives, and strategies, as well as reaffirming the vision. But at the same time, staff have also worked in completion of a few technical documents. So we have finished 4 technical documents. One is basically the socioeconomic data, which you have already approved. Then there are other documents. B is basically the bridge report, the structural inventory for the region. C is the state of the transportation report, and then D is congestion management process report. These are all technical report, and by the time we approve the plan, we want to release other technical reports. I think we have a altogether of 11 technical report, which will be released in due course. We are not asking for their approval now. We are just asking that we release this for public review. They are still going to be drafts until the plan is finalized and asked for adoption in September of next year. So the resolution is that basically it says that the vision and the guiding principles were developed in the previous long-range transportation plan, Connect RVA 2045, and this policy board reaffirms that. At the same time, the policy board approves the tweaking of the vision and the goals based on new federal directives. Also, this board approves the goals and objectives as well as strategies. And then finally, also authorizes staff to release the 4 technical documents for public review. And that's all I have. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Members, any questions? Mr. Arley, just one quick question. You had some public comment. Any negative feedback at all?
We had 31 public comments, and basically it was 8 people, but the comments were very comprehensive. So I would say it wasn't a public comment, it was from somebody from the transportation community. The comments were basically in line, very supportive, very good, but we were asked to make the strategies more aggressive. That was the overall comment. But staff basically developed those strategies as well objectives, working with the RRTP advisory committee, who basically know everything what's going on. So we didn't change anything, but the goals and the objectives and the strategies, the comments were very, very supportive.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Ariel. Seeing no other questions, is there a motion to approve the vision, guiding principles, goals, and objectives? Sorry.
Was there a question online?
Is there a question online?
Is there? I saw a comment pop up. I don't know what it was.
Chat.
There's something in the chat.
Yes. Yes, we do have a question. Will programs such as Link and GRTC Caravan be expanded on and accessible to common users of GRTC with these updates?
Yeah, we haven't reached into that stage. We are still working on the needs. Those are kind of a solution. And that's the next phase of this plan, to develop the needs as well as come up with tangible solutions. So we'll basically look at these things as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, seeing no further questions, is there a motion to approve the vision, guiding principles, goals, and objectives and strategies for the 2050 long-range transportation plan as presented? So moved by Dr. Newble, seconded by Mr. Moyer. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Ariel.
Yeah, I'll take a pause as well as getting set up, just to be able to say that the agenda is designed in order to meet those 3 core planning products that Sulab mentioned. So you've just heard updates about where we are in the planning domain. And then almost every meeting, you have action that you take with regard to the funding. So funding is obviously how the plans come to life. So just sort of thinking about this, there's intentionality for how our agenda is developed and why we move through these things. So Will's gonna guide you through some updates on projects, which I don't want to put you on the spot to do this, but presumably these are things that were planned for in previous iterations of the planning process. So you can kind of see it's almost like we're time traveling,
Mhm.
in the way of how planning comes to life. Thanks, Will.
Alright, so thank you all. I have a couple of quick items for y'all this morning, starting with the presentation of the transportation alternatives set aside applications. As Dan mentioned, I am shifting into a more transit planning specific role. I am still handling tip updates and things like that, so y'all are not free of me. I will be coming back. Let's see. And I'll try to point it in the
There
right
you go.
spot. Okay, perfect. So, well, one more. Okay. So just like Martha said, this is a project that is a little bit further down in our planning process. So this is within the funding project portion. There we go. Okay. So the Transportation Alternatives Program provides capital grant assistance for projects that focus on bicycle and pedestrian facilities, connecting bike and ped infrastructure with public transportation, and the Safe Routes to School program. The TA program is administered by VDOT. So there were 20 projects submitted as pre-applications to VDOT. GRTC and the city of Richmond submitted the most applications. GRTC submitted 6, the city of Richmond submitted 5. Chesterfield County submitted 4, Henrico County submitted 2, and then Richmond Public School System, Powhatan, and Hanover counties each submitted 1. So there's more detailed information about each of these applications in your agenda packet. There we go. Okay, so the city of Richmond, as I said, submitted 5 applications. These focus on improving safety and accessibility for cyclists and pedestrians. Improvements include new sidewalks, extended bike lanes, and crossing improvements. GRTC submitted 6 applications that also focus on pedestrian safety and access to existing transit infrastructure and improving safety, access, and multimodal connectivity, particularly on Richmond's south side. Improvements include building new and updating existing sidewalks, crosswalks, and curb ramps. There's probably a theme that y'all are noticing at this point. So Chesterfield had 4 applications that were submitted. These also focus on pedestrian accessibility and safety. Improvements include adding signalized pedestrian crossings, sidewalks, as well as a shared use path. The 2 applications submitted by Henrico County work together and are completing phases of a shared use path to help create the new Markets Height Trail. Hanover County's submitted applications would add pedestrian safety improvements, including crosswalks, warning signage, and flashing beacons. Powhatan's County submitted applications that focus on extending the existing Powhatan Village sidewalk system to improve pedestrian access both to the middle and elementary schools. And then Richmond Public School System's application would obtain funding for cyclist and pedestrian education through the Safe Routes to School system. So today, our requested action is that the policy board endorses the transportation alternative set-aside applications as recommended by the TAC, and draft resolutions can be found on page 117. Be happy to take any questions.
Questions? Any questions online? Is seeing none. We need a motion to approve the resolution to endorse the locality pre-applications for full submission.
So moved.
Second.
So moved, properly seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, and I have one more presentation. There it goes. Okay, so my next item is an amendment to the TIP incorporating 6 new 5310 projects as requested by DRPT. So these projects fall within the authorized project phase for our transportation planning process. This amendment is being requested by DRPT and it is required because of the addition of new projects. The 5310 funding aids local transit agencies, governments, and nonprofit groups in meeting the needs of seniors and people with disabilities. And I do want to take a moment right now and just sort of slow it down and really highlight this moment. So between taking these items to our TAC on July 8th and then bringing it to you all this morning, DRPT, in coordination with the Federal Transit Administration, has requested additional changes to the funding amounts. The project's intent and the scope of the projects has not changed since TAC review, and our presentation does reflect the changes that DRPT requested. We're all too excited, just going through. Okay. So there are new projects fall under 4 categories. We have operating assistance, mobility management, capital cost of contracting, as well as paratransit vehicles. The next 2 slides will highlight the planned obligations for these 5310 projects. So we have 2 projects that will be providing operating assistance, 1 project providing mobility management, 2 projects helping to provide assistance with capital cost of contracting, and then an additional project to help purchasing of paratransit vehicles. So again, whoops. There we go. Our requested action today is that the policy board accepts the tax recommendation and approval of these proposed TIP amendments, and draft resolution can be found on your packets on page 125. Again, I'd be happy to take any questions if anyone has.
Thank you. Any questions from the group? Any questions online, Scott? Okay, seeing none, I need a motion to approve. Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Seconded. All in favor? Second was from, was it Cooper?
Cooper.
Yeah, I think it was Cooper.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm next. Typically, Mr. Mushing would be giving this presentation, but we let him go on vacation this week, so I'm I'm presenting in his stead this morning. So a little bit of background about this particular project. This is an activity that the TAC undertook at your direction starting last year and have been working for the last 6 or 7 months to be able to present the recommended changes or revisions, I should say, to the regional funding framework for your consideration this morning. We also just made some recommendations from a textual perspective to fix the typos, update address, things like that, since the last time that this guidance was provided, and to be able to reflect most current federal guidance. So this morning, I'm going to give you a little bit of a highlight of the kind of key changes that are being recommended, and the full set of revisions with the track changes are included in your packet. So first one is with regard to the number of applications that localities can submit. This is population based. Essentially, there is a lot of effort on the part of your local staff to put these applications together, and the number of projects submitted to number of projects approvable is a pretty high differential. And so the reduction in the number of projects that can be submitted is intended to be able to reflect a more precise effort on the part of staff to be able to prepare those applications with likelihood of actually being moved forward to move forward. Trying to be patient. There we go. Okay. The next one is really incentivizing. As most of you know, project readiness is very important, particularly as we encounter cost escalation as projects take longer to be able to move forward. We oftentimes have to deal with amendments to the allocation process to be able to accommodate that time. So project readiness, incentivizing that and creating that 10-point bonus for completing projects. The steps in the project readiness will make sure that the cost estimates are as reliable as possible. And also that when you adopt a plan and tag money to it, it's actually going to move forward. So again, this is just an incentivization to be able to have that readiness. And you can see the distribution of the way that the different steps in that readiness process are scored. The next one is really defining the process for hierarchy of bike and pedestrian projects. Again, so thinking back to Phil's presentation and then Will's presentation, this helps to operationalize how we create that scoring, for lack of a better word, for the bike and ped projects. Oh, sorry. And the last one is this soft cap, again, thinking about cost control. And so there's a soft cap for cost increases where there are 3 waiver categories so that there is certainly flexibility to understand why and how costs might escalate for a project, but also to be able to create a little bit more metric and control around cost escalation. So again, all of these recommended changes have been the result of a 6-month process for the TAC to go through and make recommendation. The TAC did take action to recommend the revisions to this funding framework for your consideration this morning. And the idea is that we've been through this process. It would come to you for approval this morning. And then when we kick off the funding cycle in September, the new framework with these revisions would be incorporated into the process. And so the complete set of materials for this start on page 126 of your packet. And we are requesting approval of the revisions. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Yes, sir.
In the case of the, you know, the cap, and if a locality is applying, they don't fit into one of those 3 hardship categories, then I imagine the locality is responsible for funding the difference if they want to complete the project? Or does the project just die and fail? Or one of those 2 things happens, so the locality is responsible for finding the deficit?
Yeah, I mean, I think generally speaking, this body has always been solution oriented. So there have definitely been instances, most recently, I can think of this spring where we've had adjustments to the funding where the locality I think actually it was the city of Richmond, the locality contributed excess as well as additional funding. And so I think we look for those types of things. The 50% and TAC members, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the intention is just to be able to bring in a little bit more structure to that process. But ultimately, the policy board sets their policies and exercises those policies as they see fit. Did that answer the question?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Professor.
what's the time frame for these limits? As far as localities, smaller localities will have 2 reduced to 2 applications. Was that within a calendar year or fiscal year?
For each cycle.
For each cycle?
Yeah, so it's every 2-year grant cycle.
Okay.
And so it would be for each funding cycle, the max would be 2 for that population.
Thank you.
Sure.
Question. Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Schickel. Any questions online? Is there a motion to approve the revisions incorporated in the draft document? So moved by Dr. Newbill, seconded by Ms. Schneider. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Schickel. So now we head to,
I
Yeah.
don't have updated names.
oh, okay. We head to our committee and partner updates. I guess the first one we have is Mr. Rucker. Is he here? Yes,
here.
Mr. Rucker, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Good to be here. Good to see everyone again this morning. I wanted to first start off by thanking everyone for welcoming us back to the table. As of course, as many of you know, we, like our agency, like other federal agencies, have been impacted by a number of retirements. And so we've had to discuss internally how to prioritize our responsibility to ensure that the federal aid program is properly administered for the Commonwealth of Virginia. So again, I appreciate you welcoming us back to the table. I'd like to first 2 comments. I'd like to congratulate Plan RVA for the recent award of $1.5 million for the prioritization process pilot program. Congratulations, great job, staff. We've been instructed by our headquarters office to work as expeditiously as possible to get this grant executed between your agency and the Federal Highway Administration. So we expect to have this grant executed probably within the next 2 weeks, and we'll work with staff. I'm working directly with staff on that. In terms of, I know staff brought up the upcoming federal certification review. Glad my colleague from Federal Transit is on the line here. We've started our initial conversation about it. At some point soon, we'll be reaching out to you to discuss logistics and certainly how best we can meet our statutory responsibilities for engaging the public throughout the metropolitan area. So stay tuned for that. That's all I have. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Rucker. Since 1.5 million coming to us in the next 2 weeks. Any other questions for Mr. Rucker? Thank you. Mr. Rivlet from VDOT.
Morning. Our agency update, we provided a copy of that to staff. I do want to highlight a couple of items from the CTV meeting, the workshop in July. There was a topic of conversation about adoption of an updated Virginia manual for uniform traffic control devices. There were a couple of options that were considered, simply adopting the new federal MUTCD, adopting a federal MUTCD with a separate state supplement, or adopting a Virginia-specific MUTCD, and the recommendation at this time is to follow that path. Couple of reasons for that is it incorporates all of the specific federal requirements in the new MUTCD, but it also allows an accounting for specific Virginia code requirements, most notably also some Virginia-specific sign requirements. So any MUTCD guides all the signs that we see on the roads. And if we have any Virginia specific signs, incorporating that into a Virginia specific MUTCD makes that much easier. Adoption of that would be anticipated prior to January of 2026. So just know that for any of your staff working on projects, a new MUTCD for Virginia is likely coming out. There was a smart scale post-round evaluation provided by Brooke Jackson, who ran the smart scale process statewide for OIPI. Couple of the takeaway messages to the CTB was to recommend folks focus on V-Trans priority 1 and 2 locations. The benefit score associated with project applications are very much impacted by whether or not you are a Virginia or V-Trans priority 1 or 2. Identifying the right size solutions, value engineering can certainly help cost effectiveness on projects. I will say for the Richmond district, it was noted in that presentation that we were particularly successful at following some of those recommendations. So there was a lot of discussion about how come so many smart scale supporting applications came to Richmond district when you compared it with statewide results. We were successful in doing that in round 6. So the guidance to everyone is you might want to do that for round 7. So we'll have maybe some stiffer competition in the next round. Next meeting of the CTB, there is no August meeting. The next meeting is the middle of September, 16th and 17th. A couple of reminders, transportation alternatives and revenue sharing applications. We had an agenda item where you provided support for applications this morning. This portal opens next week, or August 15th, open for a month for those full applications to be submitted. If any of your staff members need any assistance, please reach out to Naomi within our staff. We're happy to help and do anything that we can to make that process as smooth as possible for you. Couple of project updates. Many of you probably know Design Build 1 for Fall Line Trail is being used right now. It is not 100% complete. There's a small section that still needs some work, but we're happy to see the progress on that one and looking forward to the completion here in the next month or so. Design Build 2, with the addition of additional dollars from the Commonwealth and additional dollars from the region. The notice to proceed was given on that project on July 10th. So that one is moving forward. That's actually very good news. That's a 10-mile section of the trail coming from Petersburg up into Chesterfield County.
Chair,
Yes, Mr. Carroll.
will we be having a groundbreaking ceremony for that?
I am not aware of a groundbreaking being scheduled, but we can certainly look into whether or not that is and advise the region if that is actually.
Be a good idea. Big project.
Yep.
I concur. Any visibility we can get on that is great. I'd love to come down as well.
Mr. Chair, I really think that every opportunity, and I'm glad you brought that up, every opportunity we get to showcase what's going on, we need to do. One of the things, quite frankly, earlier in the meeting that was puzzling to me is that we have a 50-year regional transportation plan, and we had 30 comments on that, but mainly from 8 people. What do we get? 1.4, 1.5 million people living in the region, and we get 8 people who are paying attention to what we're doing on a 50-year plan. We got to do better. I don't know how, but we got to do better because we're doing some great work here, and we just need to get it out to the community.
I think your comment on the groundbreaking, that gets some publicity. We have actually reporters in the room today, so hopefully they can continue to push this out, because this region really is a treasure around the entire in the United States. And so this is a great region and we need to continue to promote it. And I hear that often, whether it's on GRP or tourism, other boards, just continuing to push this region and the good things that we're doing, like the fall line. So thank you for the comments. Mr. Chair.
See what we do. Couple other real quick points. Bryan Park Interchange Star Steady, a public input survey is actually open and available right now. It does close tomorrow. A link to that survey is in our agency update. In New Kent County, speed enforcement will go from kind of a test case to an actual enforcement later this month. So if you're traveling 64 in the construction zone in New Kent County,
Slow down.
slow down. Right. That's the best message, 100%.
It comes to our board Monday night,
There you go.
and then if we approve it, it'll be in effect Tuesday, 12th.
It is amazing the amount of violations that are noted during this test trial period. Very significant, and those are only capturing the ones that are 11 miles an hour or above. So this is not going 1 or 2 miles an hour over. So it's significantly high numbers. So we're hoping that the enforcement will certainly make a difference.
600 an hour.
Yes, it's
That's a
incredible.
lot of mail. A lot of mail is going out to people, will be going out.
And this is, you know, the enforcement is while the construction zone is active.
Correct.
Right, so if you're driving through it while it is not active, certainly the reduced speed limits and the photo enforcement is not certainly impactful to you at that point.
Did you say 600 an hour?
Yes.
Oh my.
Over the time period that they checked, we had 36,000.
Wow.
You have to remember that
It doesn't surprise me.
if it's, right, if the dynamic speed limit says 70, the cameras aren't on.
Right.
If it says 60, they may be on. Just, that's probably a good way of looking.
So there's no flashing zone?
No, but there are
sign
signs that say, you know.
Entering a construction
Yes.
zone.
Well, and actually on waves, it does come up
Okay,
as a monitor.
okay, yeah.
So,
Oh,
but we've seen them from, the most was 106. And that wasn't the interchange. That was the speed of somebody. That actually was a state trooper received. Pick that person up. And if there isn't active, and to be transparent, if the camera is active and it's being monitored by an actual sheriff's deputy at the time, and the sheriff deputy has his gun, he has that right to go after that person too. So it's not just a captured license plate. It can possibly be. So if somebody's going 95 or something like that, and there is an actual sheriff's deputy there monitoring that with his radar, he's more than likely gonna go after that person.
Yeah.
Because the 11 mile or 12 miles over or 100 miles over is $100 ticket.
And it's not a moving violation.
That's correct. It's just a
So
civil.
if it's a photo enforcement ticket, it goes to the owner of the vehicle. Or if you're pulled over by the sheriff's deputy, it goes to the driver of the vehicle.
Oh, good point. That's
so I actually just had a conversation with one of our lieutenants for our department, and we were having concerns about, you know, how that's gonna work as far as in a school zone. I mean, there's light flashing, so people know that it's, I mean, there's a little more ambiguity with the construction and how that's going to get implemented and how it's gonna cause people to push back and how people are gonna appeal those tickets, but yeah.
what I've understand, if you see the dynamic, the 60 mile per hour sign,
Yeah,
count on soon after that,
okay,
it will be there.
okay.
Before that, probably not. Because I know at exit 205, when we get on, we don't know what the speed is
Yeah,
until we get to that first. Well, they're not gonna have a camera there, so.
so has there been any publicity as far as, you know, TV or something talking about this? News stations, anything, I'm just trying to save you guys some legal.
Actually, there will be.
Okay.
Well, and there have been
Once a week happens.
announcements relative to that coming out. I think the intent initially was to have this trial period where it was just advising motorists.
Yeah.
Before the actual tickets and actual fines were being implemented.
Okay, all right, thank you.
My last note was that we do have a public hearing scheduled for August 26th for the Cary Street and Grove Avenue bridge project in the city of Richmond. That will be at St. Constantine and Holy Greek Orthodox Cathedral. I butchered that, I apologize. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Riblet. Any other questions for Mr. Riblet?
Can you repeat the time of that Cary Street Bridge?
August 26th, 5:30 to 7 p.m.
Mr. Chairman, just, and this isn't so much a question, just to thank you. Cotton came out and met with us and also is highly engaged, and we appreciate that. Dr. Rayleigh was sharing with me that we do have a diversion diamond underway that might need some TLC from our friends at VDOT. We've got, I don't know, Dr. Rayleigh, if I may presume for you to maybe opine what some of the concerns are is.
There's been accidents in the area and just continually seeking opportunities to make that area safer.
So I don't know if you'll see Mr. Totten anytime soon, but
I will definitely see him at least tomorrow.
well, his phone might ring before then, but.
Okay.
But thank you very much for what you all are doing. It is improving it. And this is a CBTA funded initiative. And so thank you to those of you on CBTA who had the wisdom to fund it.
Thank you, Mr. Riblet. Maybe VDOT can put up a quirky, funny sign about being careful in New Kent. I don't know, horse racing or something.
Watch your horsepower.
You'll figure something out. DPRT, rail, Mr. Hudson?
Sure. Couple updates. First off, we hosted a webinar on July 23rd for our grant recipients. We wanted to let folks know that we have posted the recording of that on our website, so those that were not able to attend can review that material. Secondly, we are happy to be hosting a course through NTI, which is the National Transit Institute, focused on metropolitan and transportation programming, and that will be here September 15th and 16th. So we're very thankful that we're able to use this space for that 2-day training, really focused on MPOs and how that money is programmed and moved around. Thirdly, Smart Scale Round 7 is just around the corner. If you are a transit agency or a locality considering a project that is primarily focused on transit, you must make contact with DRPT by October 31st. We need to get that in the pipeline, and we need to be discussing those projects early this cycle so we can make sure that there's adequate documentation and material that allows scoring and review of those projects. The contact for that is Paige Lasser, and I can provide all of that information to staff for circulation. Lastly, DRPT currently is focused on getting contracts out to our grantees. This is for money that was programmed in the DRPT SIP for state fiscal year 26. We are also working on submitting federal applications to the FTA prior to the closeout period of their award system in September. So I'll pause, see if there are any questions, but that concludes my updates.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. Ms. Torres, GRTC?
Yes, a couple updates. Want to thank everyone who came out to tap into Transit Day. It was on July 8th and it was very, very successful. We had over 400 participants and a lot of, some of you guys were there, some TAC members is there, or just some of the regional representatives were there as well. And Sid is going to play a quick video that CBS 6 did to kind of capture the event. But I just pulling that up. It was about celebrating transit in the region, the expansion we've done. It was the ribbon cutting for articulated vehicles, as well as celebrating another year of zero fare as we kind of kicked off our campaign for zero fare for FY27 as well.
We want to come together to celebrate from business to the community to zero fare to tap into transit, as well as this beautiful articulated bus that is behind us. We couldn't have done this without the support of DRPT. The new 60-foot articulated buses will enable more passengers to board the Pulse, shorter stops, and an overall enhanced passenger experience. Last year, the Pulse helped over 1.7 million riders get to where they needed to go. And the purchase of these buses is a pivotal stepping stone in GRTC's path to continue growing its service. GRTC was able to study and support zero fare service from the pandemic all the way to the present. And now, TAP is a strategic investment that taps into community connections and collaborations to sustain the availability, accessibility, growth, and impact of fare-free transit into the future. With these new articulated buses and the launch of TAP, it's not surprising that GRTC continues to serve as a pioneer in this industry, and I can't wait to see what new trails they decide to blaze next.
What you see behind me, this new bus, is more than a bigger vehicle. It's a bigger vision, a vision that we all believe in at GRTC, a vision that we've been committed to, and a vision that has, is, and will continue to include zero fare. Every step that we take, every investment is about keeping this promise to build a system that serves everyone in our community.
Transportation is not just about moving people from one place to another. It's about opening doors to jobs, to school, to the doctor's office, to family. It's about providing dignity. It's about equity.
So we plan on doing that annually, to just continue to celebrate as we just continue to provide transit in the region and celebrate it. Second update is we have just completed our first round of engagement for our North-South TOD study. And what that is a complementary as well kind of parallel effort for the North-South effort that's going on for the new BRT that will go from Azalea Avenue through the city and on the Lothian Turnpike at the Stonebridge area. The eventual goal is to identify 6 sites that should be, I guess, ready for some sort of rezoning exercise to support development, kind of as a catalyst as we put in these stations for the Pulse. So we're working with the community as we determine what those stations are and then what they envision the areas to look like. So that's a really close collaboration with the city of Richmond as well and their current rezoning effort.
Excellent. Any questions for Ms. Torres?
Just iterate the thank you again for coming out to Goochland. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you. RMTA, Ms. Dean.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see everyone, and I don't know how I follow that great video. Excellent, and the event was a great event, so congratulations to you all. Just a update for us, we have begun our AUT project. Some of you all who traverse our portion of the Poway Parkway, you'll see that we've cleared some area, we have begun excavation, and we are moving along with the gantry tentatively scheduled to be erected at some point in September. And so keep your eyes open. We've received some news coverage over the last couple of days on this project. And we've been meeting with some stakeholders. I hope at some point to give our presentation to you all here as well. That's all I have.
Excellent. When will that first be implemented?
Yes, and the go live is scheduled for the winter.
Winter. Okay. Excellent. Any other questions for Ms. Dean? Thank you. Do we have a CBTA update? Yes. Mr. Parsons.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple quick updates. The information in the packet is a good summary of what's been going on. We did not meet in July, but at our June meeting, we held officer elections. So Reverend Nelson from Henrico is the current chair now of the CBTA with Mr. Carroll serving as vice chair. Thank you again for your service. Two kind of updates for the fall period. It's going to be very busy for the CBTA. We have 2 funding cycles that are currently underway. As of July 31st, our locality applications for regional CBTA funding in our round 4 of that process closed. And we are now working through evaluating all of those project applications and all of the hard work that our member localities put into putting those together and moving those forward. At the same time this fall, we are considering projects for our first bond issuance. CBTA does have that statutory authority and has not used it to this point, but we are moving through that process concurrently with Regional Round 4. Both of those, we will see recommendations come to the advisory committees as well as the full authority sometime early spring, mid-spring of 2026. So look forward to updates on that. And that's really it for now. I'd be happy to take any questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Any questions, members? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Parsons. Finally, Ms. Schickel, NRVA.
Yeah, thank you. Also, I'll give congratulations. So Jordan Stewart from New Kent was elected as our chair for the commission. And then also we'll just announce Mr. Patterson, Dr. Newbill, and Reverend Cooper joined Jordan in serving as elected officers for the commission. So congratulations, I'll say. Also, we adopted our budget and our regional strategic vision. So the boards here that are on either side here in the front of the room are representative of the actions that the board took in June to adopt our budget that is supported by the key imperatives on my right listed over here. So these are our organization's goals for this coming year. And then our regional strategic vision was also adopted, which is that long range view. Number 1, to comply with the code requirement that says that planning district commissions shall prepare a regional strategic plan, but then also to be able to set that focus. So the presentation that you heard this morning, the long range transportation plan, is one of the core component plans that fall under this regional strategic vision. So we're really locking up not just the long range transportation plan into this vision, but also the hazard mitigation plan, the air quality plan, climate pollution reduction plan that'll be completed later this calendar year, our natural resources plan, comprehensive economic development strategy that'll be on the agenda for the commission to adopt in the fall, October. So all of those things are working together. I will, as part of our follow-up email for the TPO, I will get our community engagement team to do a summary of the whole body of engagement and touch points we've had with the community on the long range transportation plan. Mr. Ariel's comment about the 31 comments from the 8-ish people were in direct response to the 15-day public comment period. And I would be guessing if I told you the number of hundreds of people that we've been in contact throughout all the 9 jurisdictions, but it is many more than the 8 people. But we'll get our community engagement team to get a report out that talks about the life of the LRTP process to date and how many folks we've been able to reach through that. I know that that's important, not just to you, Mr. Carroll, but everybody. Also wanted to note, many of you who serve on the commission would have gotten this notice this week, but the commission meeting that was scheduled for September 11th has been moved to September 25th in recognition that many of you participate in services that morning to commemorate 9/11. And so we wanted to make sure that we adjusted the schedule accordingly. So the new calendar in our website have been updated to reflect that new meeting date. So just share that information far and wide. And then finally, I wanted to either yield the floor or make an announcement. You want me to do? Okay. Janice Scott let the executive committee know this morning, and we had shared with staff in the last week or so. She will be retiring from her role here as board relations manager at Plan RVA. And we are sad to see her go, but very happy for her next chapter. And you can see by the smile on her face, she's excited as well. With a lot of gratitude, she gave us ample time to be able to prepare for this transition. So she'll be with us until October 2nd. So you will see her again at the next policy board meeting, but we just wanted to be able to make sure that folks knew that change will continue to happen here at Plan RVA, and we are adjusting accordingly and are in active recruitment for for a replacement for that role, but are looking forward to celebrating over the next couple months her next chapter. And I don't want to steal your thunder, but I do want to make mention that we still have spots for the Port of Virginia tour scheduled for September 4th. Thank you. So if you have not registered, but you intended to, please let us know immediately so that we can get you on that list and make sure that we get the details out to you. It is a full service transportation from the Richmond region to Hampton Roads and back. And for security reasons, we do need to have everybody ride together on that trip. And but we have quite a few spots
We've
left.
heard from a handful of members, but again, with the port security, we have to submit these things to them in advance, so that they have everything ready. So we haven't really set a deadline for RSVPing, but we do need within the next week or so, we need to know everyone who would like to attend. So I have the RSVP sheet open. If anybody wants to come in and let me know before you leave, then I'll go ahead and update it.
And just a plug for that, for everyone, encourage you to join. I'm attending on that day, but we think about regional transportation, oftentimes we think bikes and cars, et cetera, but the port is a big piece of it. And so I know I'm excited about going there to see the port in action and to do that. So hopefully you'll join me on that, so. With that, are there any other member comments from the group? Mrs. Moore.
Wanted to go along with that port trip. They were gracious enough to have our board and our EDA go down and have a tour of the port. We went to the Norfolk port, and it is amazing how they look at our region and they look at our businesses as being their customers, and how it's important that we have these businesses here so that they can thrive, because that's where the business will bring their goods. And it was very enlightening. It wasn't just 64, it was also the Richmond port itself too, which I guess you'll see with that, how much that has been an improvement over the course of years and means a lot. In New Kent on Saturday is at Colonial Downs, the Festival of Racing. It's one of the 3 big racing days of the year. That'll be post time at 12 o'clock. So.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Any other comments from the members? Okay, with that, next meeting, October 2nd.